Hello, welcome to the Make Nerd channel. Today's video is going to be really fun. We are going to do something nerdy and interesting. One of the things that has come out of this conflict with India and Pakistan that happened is, of course, what happened in the actual conflict and the fallout of it. I have done multiple videos on that. But one thing that came out is our Godi Media has gone nuts. They have become, as some were calling it, Lashkar-e-Noida. They have been lying, they have been loud, they have been a disgrace. So, what I thought we can do today is sort of analyze what they have been doing, right? For that, I have a fun little thing for you. These are all propaganda techniques. Basically, throughout history, whenever propaganda has been seen or narrative setting has been done, people have done effort to categorize it into different techniques that people use, corporations use, media uses, governments use to do propaganda. So these are the techniques. This is from the Painter Explained YouTube channel. So if you want, you can take a look at that video also. But we are going to go through Godi Media channels and some of the clips that they did, and we are going to apply these techniques to them to see if we can make sense of it. We are also going to go to some international news channels talking about or getting guests from Pakistan and apply it there as well. And in the end, there will be some bonus updates as well. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the reason why I'm doing this video and where I got this idea from is Blackboard Sinha. In case you don't know, I'm referring Sushant Sinha here. Now, BJP's official handle posted this. Okay, it posted in Hindi. I'm translating it. Pakistan will never improve, and there might ever be even be a war. But will India fight like this? Identify such anti-India elements who made fun of their country's media and country's army at the same time of Operation Sindoor. Our soldiers are ready for war, but are you ready mentally? Look at this report. And then they posted this video by Sushant Sinha. Now, for those of you who don't know, I refer to him as Blackboard Sinha. Sushant Sinha is one of the, Godi Media gang people who sounds a lot like a TV serial vamp sometimes. And here especially you will see what I mean. He has used some amazing propaganda techniques to sort of reinforce what he's trying to say. So we're going to watch a little bit of it, and then we're going to apply our understanding of propaganda techniques to this.
नमस्कार दोस्तों, आज नहीं तो कल पाकिस्तान से युद्ध तो तय है। प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने क्लियर कट मैसेज भी दे दिया है। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर नया नॉर्म, और अब आतंकी हमला हुआ तो बात यहां से आगे ही बढ़ी। इससे भी बड़ा एक्शन, यानी युद्ध भी हो जाए तो बड़ी बात नहीं। लेकिन मैं आज हर भारतीय से सवाल पूछना चाहूं कि क्या आप सब युद्ध के लिए तैयार हैं? क्या किसी को पीओके चाहिए, किसी को पाकिस्तान को फोड़ देना है, ये कर दो वो कर दो का फील तो सब में, लेकिन क्या आप खुद युद्ध के लिए तैयार हैं?
क्या युद्ध से सेना
और सरकार नहीं लड़ेगी। ये हमने 4 रोज के छोटे से युद्ध में देख लिया। टेक्नोलॉजी के इस दौर में एक युद्ध सोशल मीडिया से लेकर दूसरे इंफॉर्मेशन सेंटर के माध्यम से भी लड़ा जाएगा।
So first thing you will notice is he's addressing the audience directly. क्या आप तैयार है? क्या आप तैयार है? So basically he is identifying you right now specifically so that you relate to him and you trust him because he is directly talking to you like I am right now.
और वहां हो रही प्रोपेगेंडा की लड़ाई में आपकी मेंटल स्ट्रेंथ के अलावा और कोई हथियार नहीं चलेगा। लेकिन बीते 4 दिन में क्या देखा हमने? जिस वक्त भारत का मीडिया ये बता रहा था कि पाकिस्तान मार खा रहा, पिट रहा और भारतीय सेना के शौर्य के बारे में हम आपको बता रहे, तब भारतीय मीडिया को ही एक कोऑर्डिनेटेड अटैक करके टारगेट कर दिया। और आप में से कई लोग ऐसे इकोसिस्टम के झांसे में आ भी गए। भारतीय मीडिया के
The ecosystem thing is actually very interesting. Now, this whole video is based on this premise that you must have seen our Godi Media spreading a lot of misinformation during this time. You must have seen them talking about how Karachi port was destroyed, how Indian army had entered Pakistan, how there was a Fidain attack somewhere in Rajouri, all of which has been proved to be fake. This did not happen. So they have been facing a lot of criticism. Obviously, they have been called out by a lot of people for doing a shit job at reporting the conflict in general. Here is Sushant Sinha, who is trying to justify it. Yes, he is basically justifying it and saying that क्या आप तैयार है इसके लिए, and now he's going to build up on that whole premise. What he is trying to do is this technique which is called limited hangout. Okay, let me show you limited hangout, a technique used by clandestine professionals when their veil of secrecy is shredded and they can no longer rely on a phony cover story to misinform the public. They resort to admitting, sometimes even volunteering, some of the truth while still managing to withhold the key and damaging facts in the case. So what you will see Sushant Sinha doing throughout this video is basically admitting, हाँ किया है तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है, किसका कुछ नुकसान हुआ है क्या, डिड आई हार्म एनीवन.
अलग अलग न्यूज चैनल की रात भर की कवरेज में से छोटी छोटी क्लिप निकालकर ये माहौल बनाने का प्रोपेगेंडा हुआ कि मीडिया तो सब गलत दिखा रहा. रात में मीडिया ने भारतीय सेना के पाकिस्तान पर जबरदस्त एक्शन के बारे में बताया और अगली ही सुबह से एक इकोसिस्टम ने ऐसा भयंकर माहौल बना दिया कि
Remember, he keeps saying this ecosystem. This is also a propaganda technique. Basically, what they are trying to do are sort of two things. One is plain folk, right? So when he's addressing you, what he's doing is he wants to appear like he is one of you, right? So अरे मैं और तुम तो common आदमी है, right? And there is this elite ecosystem on the side, no, which is not us, which is not. So that he's distancing himself from an ecosystem. Okay. The other thing he's doing are like it's a combination of join the crowd and demonize the enemy. Okay. So what he's saying is that, listen, do you want to fight a war? Do you want to fight a war? Yeah, then join the crowd. So he is also saying that we are the common folk, we are the crowd, so join this. And the second is the ecosystem is the enemy.
दिक्कत ये थी कि कई राष्ट्रवादी लोग भी इस नैरेटिव में फंस गए. मीडिया को जमकर कोसा, भला बुरा कहा, लेकिन फाइनली हुआ क्या? अब जब धीरे धीरे तस्वीर साफ हो रही है तो दिखने लगा है ना कि जो हमने बताया उसमें से लगभग सब कुछ हुआ. भारत ने पाकिस्तान के फाइटर जेट गिराए.
See, okay. यहाँ पे just listen to this. So essentially, as I said, there were a few news items which went out which were clearly fake. Now, Sushant is going to justify it.
और में धमाका हुआ, उनका चीनी डिफेंस सिस्टम फोड़ दिया गया, कराची के पास हमला हुआ, तीनों सेनाओं ने मिलकर अटैक किया, यानी सब कुछ हुआ. लेकिन आपके अंदर एक खास इकोसिस्टम ने ये भरने का प्रयास किया, ये सब कुछ नहीं हो रहा, मीडिया सब गलत दिखा रहा है. कौन थे ये लोग जिन्हें सुबह
Okay. Here he did some oversimplification, right? Essentially, when he says, when the news media reported, they said that Karachi port फट गया, like completely destroyed by INS Vikrant. Okay, so the Navy attacked Karachi port. That is details, that is nuance, right? That is where there are some details of what actually happened in Karachi. He is trying to oversimplify. What that means is that he's completely glossing over the details of what the actual fake news spread was, right? And he's trying to oversimplify it, right? So once the details are gone, they are essentially trying to sort of present to you disinformation, right? This is another propaganda technique. It's called disinformation, right? What that means is that you are sort of re-examining the narrative, deleting some details of it and adding your own version of it to the narrative. So that is disinformation, right? It is different from misinformation. There is information, right? You delete some parts, add some parts so that the information is now disinformation. That is what he was doing. And the other thing he seems to be doing is, as chat is also pointing out, loaded language, right? He's been using some terms like ecosystem, which are extremely loaded.
तीनों सेनाओं ने मिलकर अटैक किया, यानी सब कुछ हुआ, लेकिन आपके अंदर एक खास इकोसिस्टम ने ये भरने का प्रयास किया, ये सब कुछ नहीं हो रहा, मीडिया सब गलत दिखा रहा है. कौन थे ये लोग जिन्हें सुबह 7 बजते बजते पता चल गया था कि रात को भारतीय सेना ने पाकिस्तान के विमान नहीं गिराए? या
इधर तो he's again like a bunch of things, like he's basically oversimplifying, but also what he said is that so we reported something and then it got, let's say, fact checked by morning, right? इनको किसने बताया? इनको किसने बताया कि कराची पे हमला नहीं हुआ? आर्मी ने तो नहीं बोला था, राइट? सो एसेंशियली ही इज डूइंग द सेम थिंग, व्हिच इज ही इज लाइक, मैं तो आर्मी के साइड से हूँ, मैं तो बिलीव ही करता हूँ आर्मी को, इनको किसने बताया? Okay, Sushant Sinha A doesn't understand how the internet works because if you bomb Karachi port, there are a lot of people who will see it. Like literally thousands of people who would have seen it and posted videos, but what we got are some videos of burning debris which turned out to be an air crash from America. That is the pictures that the media started playing and saying that Karachi port has been attacked by INS Vikrant. Now, INS Vikrant is our behemoth amazing ass ship which the Navy controls, and it like has like BrahMos missiles etc. to cause massive damage, वो use नहीं हुआ था. The Navy would have said something, someone would have said something, it didn't happen. But what he is doing is, what he's saying is that उनको किसने बताया, ecosystem को किसने बताया, right? So essentially what he's saying is that let's otherize them and demonize them, because these people did not believe my side, they did not believe the common folk, they did not believe our side of things, right? That is what he's doing right now.
कराची पर कोई हमला नहीं हुआ, इनको कैसे पता था? लाहौर में कोई ब्लास्ट नहीं हुआ, इनको बताने वाला कौन? इनको कैसे पता चला था? किसी ने पूछा इनसे? सेना ने तो कोई प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस सुबह तक नहीं की. इनको पाकिस्तान के प्रोपेगेंडा वीडियो पर भरोसा था, उस पाकिस्तान पर जिसने अब तक प्रोपेगेंडा ही चला रखा है, खुद की जीत बता रहा है. लेकिन मेरा सवाल तो आपसे है, इनसे नहीं. ऐसे दो कौड़ी के देश और वहां बैठ.
Also again, like oversimplification, if he is like mentioning people like Zubair, Alt News, who have been sort of fact checking them, for fact checking just general information that is going around during this conflict. Zubair's most attention has been on the Pakistani misinformation handles. From what I have been following, he has been constantly busting fake news coming from Pakistan and their handlers. He also fact checked our media. I'm not saying he didn't, but at the same time, heavily fact checking Pakistan is what he was doing. Also, he also has to, like, we have to understand that we are not the only people in the world, na? Our media is not the only people looking at this event and like giving reporting. There's international news which is also coming down and looking at the news from their own perspective. So there are other journalists who are also reporting on this. So it like this ecosystem that he's talking about is like this oversimplification that everybody who did not agree with my and my news channel's narrative is the enemy.
बैठे और यहाँ बैठे इनके दो कौड़ी के इकोसिस्टम से सवाल नहीं मेरा, आपसे सवाल है कि ऐसे लड़ने चले थे आप युद्ध कि जिन लोगों को आप.
See, he's doing the same thing. Common folk, right? He's like, अरे मेरा आपसे सवाल है, मेरा वो तो छोड़ दो. Those are the enemies. Leave them. आपसे सवाल है, हम relate ना, relate boss. He keeps using the word boss to relate to you, and he keeps doing this thing where he's like, अरे नहीं मेरा आपसे सवाल है, आप, are you stupid? You tell me, are you stupid? मेरा आपसे सवाल है, are you stupid to believe this shit?
सालों साल से अलग अलग चैनल में देश हित की खबरें दिखाते देखते आए हैं, उन पर बस कुछ ही पल में संदेह करने लग गया कि सब गलत खबर दिखा रहा है मीडिया, वो भी ऐसे लोगों के कहने पर जिनका ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड है 10 साल से एक ही एजेंडे का कि भारत में कुछ भी अच्छा हो ही नहीं रहा, भारत में हंगामा कर दो, हंगामा मचा दो, अशांति ला दो, मोदी को हटा दो. आज उनका सारा अगला.
Okay, now he's building on his narrative and basically bringing in, of course, what he ultimately wants to say. How dare you question Supreme Leader? How dare? How dare? So throughout this conflict, you must have seen one thing, right? The usual liberal crowd, which I'm loosely using the word liberal, which questions the government, and that includes me to a certain extent also, which is which is anti-establishment, which questions the government, etc. Some of them suddenly started, like backing the government during this time, or that is what you saw, right? Or you perceived it that way. But what has happened is that, and I have cleared my stand on this as well, that conflict ke time pe, you have to be very careful about things you say, because emotions are very high, and after that is done, we can analyze it, we can criticize the government, their handling of it, which I have done after the conflict. I didn't do it immediately, but I did do it later, right? So opposition parties have also been constantly saying that we are with this action, we are with the government, we think this is the right thing to do. So complete backing, complete unconditional backing to the armed forces and the government during this time of conflict, right? He is kind of forgetting that whole thing, and he's building on the narrative that now during normal peacetime, when you question Modi, these are the same people. These are the same people, right? Identify. So यहाँ पे लिखा है ना, identify such anti-national, anti-India elements who make fun of their country and country's media. So every time you now criticize the media, question on you. Are you a part of the ecosystem? Okay, so I think you get an idea of this clip. I'm not going to play the whole thing. It is kind of bakwas after this, which is like he's doing this same thing again, which is again a propaganda technique called repetition. So as much as you can repeat the same message again and again in different ways, it kind of sticks to the audience's brain, and then you kind of start believing them and trusting them. Okay, I'm not going to play more of it. You can go watch it because it was posted by BJP official handle. So clearly they are also like siding with whatever the media did. I have a bit of a question here. I've been thinking about this, which is two things happened when the conflict was happening. One was that the media was doing all this nonsense. The second is Modi government had blocked some 8,000 accounts. Now some of them were Pakistani accounts, URLs, etc. That is fine. But then there were Indian handles and websites which were also blocked, like Maktub Media and Wire being some examples. Some of the handles like Arpit, etc. were also blocked in India. My thing was they took zero action against our Godi GVs, our Lashkar-e Noida media. They took zero action against them except some, like one thing about, oh, please siren mat bajana. I'll show you a clip where they actually play the sirens. It's annoying. But I was wondering, why though? Why aren't they saying anything? I had a suspicion that the BJP, people, handlers, Hiren Joshi type people, are the ones who are sort of telling them to spread more misinformation, are the ones who were telling them to set the narrative, and were telling them ki ha kuch bhi pel do, matlab just kuch bhi pel do. And that is another propaganda technique. It's called fire hose of falsehood. Essentially, use a fire hose and spread so much false news that people cannot differentiate what is real and what is not. The fire hose of falsehood was in full action during the conflict time, right? Now, Godi Media right now is saying कि हाँ तो हम तो पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ बोल रहे थे. But do you understand that your maximum audience was Indian? They were the ones who were going to you to get news on what is going on in the conflict. So essentially the fire hose of falsehood was, the primary target was Indians. The primary target of this narrative setting propaganda was Indians. Okay, on to the next clip. कराची बंदरगाह पर बड़ा हमला, 10 से ज़्यादा धमाके किए गए. Now this was a news item that went a little viral on May 8th. Again, you will hear a lot of things.
से अपनी रणनीति के जरिए एक-एक करके
Hear the sirens in the background also.
और कराची बंदरगाह पर एक बड़ा हमला हुआ. देखिए, मैंने पहले कहा था, अरब सागर से नौसेना ने पूरा अपना जो एक्शन है वो शुरू कर दिया है. कराची बंदरगाह पर भारी तबाही हुई है. 10 से ज्यादा धमाके वहां पर देखने को मिले, सुनने को मिले हैं. कराची बंदरगाह मतलब अब कुछ बचा नहीं है पाकिस्तान में. कराची हो, इस्लामाबाद हो, लाहौर हो, सियालकोट हो, हर जगह इस वक्त तबाही का मंजर, तबाही की तस्वीरें सामने आ रही हैं. ये जो हम आपको
unrelated images are being played and the siren is there, and then of course whatever. This is again the repetition and fire hose technique at work. Okay, look at this. Fire hose of falsehood imagery, like lots of headlines, 10 dhamake hue hai, ye hua hai, wo hua hai. So they're just randomly adding more information to the already existing lie, right? And then there is also an element of disinformation here. But euphoria, the use of an event that generates euphoria or happiness, or using an appeal event to boost morale. Euphoria can be created by declaring a holiday, making a luxury items available, or warmongering, mounting a military parade with marching bands and patriotic messages. So basically they are trying to generate this feeling of euphoria so that you trust what they are saying more. Also, another thing they are doing is appeal to fear. Basically they are causing panic in your head, in the audience's head, so that you can't think straight, so that you cannot distinguish between what is true and what is not. That is what appeal to fear does, because it makes you so scared, your brain kind of shuts down and stops rationalizing things.
को बता रहे हैं कराची बंदरगाह की तस्वीर है, जहां पर 10 से ज्यादा धमाकों की आवाज सुनाई दे रही है. मेरे सहयोगी अनंत इस वक्त और पूरे एक बड़े पैनल के साथ में मौजूद है. अनंत, ओवर टू यू.
बिल्कुल राहुल जी, और कराची बंदरगाह की तस्वीर आपने दिखाई, और खबर ये भी आ रही है कि पेशावर में भी बड़ा धमाका हुआ है.
Fire hose of falsehood. Now he's adding Peshawar to it.
जैसे आपने बताया कि सब बड़े शहरों को टारगेट में लिया गया है
जी।
तो इनकी इंपॉर्टेंस इस प्रकार से है
And of course, they're just adding to the falsehood randomly. Okay, just one little thing. I wanted to go back to the Sushant Singh thing to tell you something which he said, which will give you context of what just happened as well.
और जो सवाल पूछ रहे हैं उनमें से कितनों को पता है कि मीडिया में खबर चलती कैसे है? जब कोई ब्रेकिंग न्यूज की सिचुएशन होती है तो एंकर के पास वेरीफाई करने का कोई माध्यम नहीं होता क्योंकि वो लाइव ऑन एयर होता है। विश्वास की एक चेन चलती है बॉस। एंकर पीसीआर से आने वाली कमांड पर विश्वास करके आपको खबर बताता है, पीसीआर आउटपुट से मिलने वाली खबर पर विश्वास करती है, खबर बनाने वाली आउटपुट की टीम खबर देने वाली इनपुट की टीम पर भरोसा करती है, इनपुट की टीम खबर जुटाने वाले रिपोर्टर पर विश्वास करती है और रिपोर्टर अपने सोर्स पर भरोसा करता है।
Now, this chart, very important. Thank you, Sushant, for doing this. Right? What he's trying to say is that because they are live, because they're doing this live, you must have seen the headline going repeat with no face there. Because what is happening here is that the information flow from the source to the anchor is really rapid. There is no this layer which he is explaining, bullshit. If they actually had this layer of fact checking and actually taking the news through these layers of पहले reporter check करेगा, because once a source says, for example, someone in I don't know Karachi is basically, sir पोर्ट पे हमला हो गया है सर पोर्ट पे हमला हो गया, right? Now source basically is telling that to reporter. Now reporter is taking that, oh हमला हो गया. Their first job is to actually call other people who are there to check if actually हुआ है कि नहीं. Then he'll ask the source, अच्छा क्या हमला हुआ है, किधर से हुआ है? Like, अरे INS विक्रांत ने हमला बोल दिया है, whatever, ब्रह्मोस फेंक दिया. Reporter will then check with the Navy sources, check with other sources saying that, yeah, did this really happen? No. It didn't happen, so basically it would just get cut off there and would never reach the anchor. Instead, the source is the one that is just talking to the anchor and they're like, oh, okay, oh, खबर आ रही है, बता दो. There is no layer of fact checking involved here. Now, reporter, once they verify it, they give it to the input team, right? Input team then checks with the output team, which also has like editorial control there, right? Which is like the editors or senior journalists, when they'll look at it and they say, okay, तूने सोर्स देखा क्या, तूने ये किया क्या, तूने उसको कॉल किया क्या, अच्छा इसको भी कॉल करके देख ले एक बार, right? And this has to happen really rapidly if you want to put it up on air, right? That happens. Then it goes to the PCR, which are the ones who are actually telling the anchor, right? This bharosa chain is based on fact checking and actually figuring out कि वो हुआ है कि नहीं. So when Sushant was saying कि इनको कैसा पता चला, basically he's just bullshitting. He's just absolutely. मेरे को पता है न्यूज़ कैसा होता है सुशांत, तेरे को नहीं पता न्यूज़ कैसा चलता है. Clearly, if you're like putting in the pain to do all of this and not doing it, what? Rachit is saying even source means what? In our institute, we have public liaison officers whose job is to talk to the media. See, here's the thing, Rachit. What is happening is that they're just listening to one source and then telling it to the anchor. What should usually happen is that you have to corroborate the sources, right? If you want to use an anonymous source, it is also wise to look at 2 other or 3 other sources who confirm the same event so that you get more clarity about what actually happened. Unconnected sources. They just take one source and they're like, हाँ इस पे विश्वास कर दो, बोल दो एंकर को. That's not how anything works. That's not how anything works. And that is exactly what our TV news does all the time. And that is very dangerous. Okay, let's look at the next one. This is a fun one. This uses the wonderful technique of guilt by association. Friends, this is Arnab Goswami who has started boycotting Amir Khan. Because, और क्या ही है?
Amir, did you get a subsidy from Erdogan in 2020 when you were shooting Lal Singh Chadda? Is it true that
Amir Khan went and shot Lal Singh Chadda in 2020 in Turkey? So now Arnab is boycotting him now in 2025, 5 years later. He's like, Amir, you anti-national.
that you shot Lal Singh Chadda in Turkey? And when you did that, did you have any economic interests or concessions or help from the Turkish? And there you are, Amir Khan, meeting the Turkish First Lady, Emin Erdogan, during Lal Singh Chadda's shooting.
हमारे वैसे प्राइम इन्फ्लुएंसर भी अर्दोगान से मिले हैं काफ़ी बार. Just saying.
Right? Now remember, when you were doing that, Amir, when you were doing that, obviously you knew that this country is against Bharat. Why did you still do that? Why do you pretend, Amir, to be
Oh my God. Okay. Now this is a very obvious propaganda technique, which is called guilt by association. Right? You have to understand this. Guilt by association, or reductio ad Hitlerum. This technique is used to persuade a target audience to disapprove of an action or idea by suggesting that the idea is popular with groups hated, feared, or held in contempt by the target audience. Thus, if the group that supports a certain policy is led to believe that undesirable, subversive, or contemptible people support the same policy, then the members of the group may decide to change their original position. This is a form of bad logic where A is said to include X and B is said to include X, therefore A is equal to B. This is called guilt by association. Essentially, what Arnab here is doing is that he is pulling out, like, out of 5 years, 5 years ago, he's like, Acha, Amir Khan Turkey gaya tha to shoot a movie. Amir, did you get concession from Turkey? Did you get special advantages? Did you get this? Did you get that? Did you not know they're enemies? So essentially, guilt by association. Amir Khan going to Turkey to shoot a movie, and Turkey betraying us during the current conflict and siding with Pakistan makes Amir Khan the enemy, guilt by association. Timeline is a little off, of course, but who cares, I guess.
non-political, when the fact is that when it comes to taking sides with countries which are against national interest, you're willing to go all out as long as it helps you. Now, Lal Singh Chadda was a flop, and I think one of the reasons it was a flop is because you shot it in Turkey. If that is...
No, Lal Singh Chadda was a flop because it's a bad movie. It was not great. Not because it was shot in Turkey. I didn't even know it was shot in Turkey.
It's the case. But I want to know that while you are in India, you say you feel alarmed by the state of India. You suggest that you and your then wife...
And now he's going back even further back. Essentially, personal attacks.
even thought of leaving India.
Choice personal attacks.
So situations like this, you make these, political statements. When it comes to having tea, dinner, taking pictures with Erdogan, you're very happy. Look at that picture again. It's almost like he's taking a statesman meeting a statesman kind of situation. Show that picture again. And my question is not just about Bollywood and Amir Khan alone.
Now he's expanded it to Bollywood. Again, guilt by association. Because Amir is a part of Bollywood, now he will basically say that, ooh, let's like guilt by association them also.
The fact is that personally, I'm extremely angry at the non-committal attitude of Bollywood during this war.
Bollywood ne kuch kyun nahi bola?
I'm told that Salman Khan put out a tweet saying, thank God for the ceasefire. Did he say anything before that? Ladies and gentlemen, when these Bollywood people fly hundreds of dancers from Turkey or to Turkey to shoot songs, to shoot their films, when they romanticize Turkey, when big budget films like Tiger 3, Ajab Prem Ki Gazab Kahani, Race 2, blah, 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 and Lal Singh Chadda are shot in Turkey, do these Bollywood people ever think that if they invest such large amounts of money in Turkey, then it could add to the Turkish economy? And do they find out about how anti-India Turkey is? And therefore...
Oh my God. So, guilt by association. You see what he's doing now. Now that I've laid out the framework, it will be easy for you to follow.
Industry with Turkey, and even if that is Bollywood, in my view, at least now, should stop supporting Turkey.
Okay. Shrishti has made a good point. There is another propaganda technique used called Pensi unique, right? What it means is enforced reduction of a discussion by use of overly simplistic phrases or arguments. There is no alternative to war. Again, he is basically simplifying the whole thing to make it basically fit his narrative.
All movies which are being shot in Turkey, planned in Turkey, or have sequences in Turkey should either wrap up operations or declare it to the Indian people. So that if you continue, I want all movies to declare they do not have a Turkey element. It's like shooting a movie in Pakistan. Would you watch a movie that was shot in Rawalpindi or Lahore or Karachi?
I mean, if it has a good story, okay.
Would you
Never
watch
mind.
a movie which had Pakistani actors? And therefore, why should you have any such position vis-a-vis Turkey? Ladies and gentlemen, Erdogan is delusional. He's crazy. But we can hurt Turkey. I have nothing against the Turkish people, but I have something very strongly against the Turkish army and their government. And ladies and gentlemen, we therefore, without a doubt, need to ban Turkey.
Arnav is a master of propaganda that way. He does a lot of these techniques, otherization he did yahan pe, guilt by association already pointed out. And as Shrishti pointed out, Pensi, what was it? Pensi unique was also used here. Okay, there is this one event that happened recently where an MLA, a Bharatiya Janata Party MLA, called Adesh Rawal, MP Global Tribal Affairs Minister. He basically said some horrible things about Colonel Sofia Qureshi and he called her this.
उन्होंने कपड़े उतार उतार के हमारे हिंदुओं को मारा और मोदी जी ने उनकी बहन को उनकी ऐसी की तैसी करने हमारे जहाज से उनके घर
Unki behan. Basically, he called Colonel Sofia Qureshi, who was doing the briefings, sister of the terrorists and Pakistanis, whatever, because obviously religion. So, bol diya. Now, the news is that MP High Court has asked the government to file an FIR against him. The Supreme Court has also said that it is justified. So now there is a case going on against him. But here there are a few very specific propaganda techniques being used, which we should point out. Smear campaign. A smear is an effort to damage or call into question someone's reputation by propounding negative propaganda. It can be applied to individuals or group. Essentially, he is typically doing smear campaign against Colonel Sofia Qureshi for no reason, right? Because he's also using guilt by association. Because of her religion, he's associating her with Pakistan. Because Pakistan is associated with terrorism, then he's smearing Sofia Qureshi, saying, oh, sister of terrorists, right? The other one actually is, of course, stereotyping, which is a usual technique. This technique attempts to arouse prejudices in an audience by labeling the object of propaganda campaign as something the target audience fears, hates, loathes or finds undesirable. So, stereotyping ho raha hai yahan pe, and this propaganda technique is being used, which is a smear campaign and guilt by association. Next, let's look at some Pakistani propaganda. Now this, you must have seen this clip. This is Defense Minister Khwaja Asif, who basically said some things.
The things cooled down then, and now again the same thing is...
You do admit, sir, that Pakistan has had a long history of backing and supporting and training and funding these terrorist organizations.
Well, we have been doing this dirty work for the United States for about 3 decades, and West, including Britain.
So that's your argument that
that was a mistake, and we suffered for that.
So essentially, he is admitting. So it's very interesting. Yahan pe we can do 2 propaganda techniques actually. One is, of course, limited hangout, right? So once you're caught, once your lies are exposed, essentially what you do is you give a kernel of truth, which is accept a part of what the accusation is or what is being made against you. And then you gain the trust of the audience and then you add lies on top of it, right? Once you gain the attention of the... So he's very badly trying to do that, which is like he accepted, but that is the US ka fault, that is our policy because of the US and we regret it. The second thing that he has been doing is half-truth. And this is connected, both of them. So he will tell you half a truth and then add whatever lies he wants so that you trust it. Basically, the base might be a little bit of a truth, but uske upar itne falsehoods bhar denge that you will start believing anything to change the narrative. Okay, next one. This is Pakistan's information minister. Basically, we also saw this limited clip, where he is saying certain things.
Damn it, we are responding, but to target civilian population, it's extremely unfortunate. And it's
just
very,
to point out, Minister, the Indian armed forces say that altogether 9 sites have been targeted, that they haven't hit any Pakistani military facilities. These are terrorist camps that they are hitting.
Let me make it very clear, there are no terrorist camps in Pakistan. Pakistan is a victim of terrorism. We are fighting.
Okay. Here again, you can see the same thing, which is limited hangout, but half truth. But also, I think there is a very big angle of plain folk here, right? Now, plain folk, what it means is कि हम तो तुम्हारे जैसे ही है type situation, where you're like, oh no, Pakistan, oh but Pakistani people are common people, okay? We do not associate with terrorism, and look, audience, please trust me. We are all plain people and we've never supported terrorism, but then their army does. Like the defense minister said, we had a policy. So yeah, propaganda technique. And of course, half truth ho raha hai yahan pe, obviously. Obfuscation ho raha hai yahan pe, obviously. And repetition.
Fighting the terrorists in our western regions, on our western borders. We are the frontline state against terrorism. We've laid down 90,000 lives in this war against terrorism. India, on the other hand, when we had the Jafar Express hijacking, an intense hijacking incident, India did not even...
This is a technique called whataboutery. Kidhar gaya? Whataboutery, right? So instead of addressing the actual issue, he is pointing to another event without addressing the actual issue at hand. He is basically trying to justify what happened here by drawing false equivalence with another issue. That's what he's doing. Again, propaganda technique, whataboutism.
condemn it, let alone express some concern about that incident. So India has been sponsoring terrorism by assassinating Sikhs in US, in Canada, in Australia. We captured a spy by the name of Kulbhushan.
Random association with different events because he cannot answer the actual question that was put to him.
Yadev, who's a commissioned
Mr.
naval
Tarar,
officer.
can I just point out to you, on my program just a week ago, your defense minister, Khwaja Asif, admitted that Pakistan has for decades had a policy of funding, backing and using terrorist groups as proxies in the country. In fact, in 2018, President Donald Trump cut military aid to Pakistan because he accused Pakistan of playing a double game. So when you say there are no terrorist camps in Pakistan, that is going against what General Pervez Musharraf has said, what Benazir Bhutto has said, what your defense minister said.
Okay, I have to pause here because I have to sort of praise this lady here, Yalda Hakim. What has been going on, friends, and as we saw in the Sushant clip where he keeps saying कि क्या आप जानते हैं कैसे लड़ने का है? Like you need mental strength, right? Okay, and you need to spread some fake news and stop questioning the media who is spreading fake news in the favor of the country. That is his whole argument in that video. Now, the one sort of thought process that is they're trying to spread is that as long as it is hurting the enemy, you can say whatever you want. Right? Our perceived enemy, whatever is hurting them, you can say whatever you want. So that's important because during conflict, it is important to set a narrative. So each side will set a narrative. India will set a narrative. Pakistan will set a narrative. The international community will look at the narrative and they would judge. Now, my reading of this whole thing is that we have lost out on the international narrative war because our Godi media has been absolutely shit. Their garbage narrative setting up like has been absolutely terrible, right? In fact, I would say thank you, Yalda, because at least she was doing the job that our media should be doing, right? Sky News, she has been basically asking these questions and exposing Pakistani commentators, ministers actually, who actually went on their channels and spoke to them. While our anchors बस गाली गलौज कर रहे थे, गाली गलौज सीधा बस और कुछ नहीं, नथिंग कंस्ट्रक्टिव, नथिंग एल्स.
कहते हैं भारत को कहना चाहूंगा. अरे पहले भारत कहना सीखो. ये नेता नहीं है, एक्टर है. दरिया में खून बहेगा. अरे ओ बिलावल सामने आजा, सिखा दूंगा.
Arnab, I must say your Bilawal ki mimicry is much better than your journalism ki mimicry that you do every night.
कोकेन पीता है आदमी. तुमने पाकिस्तान क्यों छोड़ा भगोड़े? अरे भगोड़े हामिद खान. अरे भगोड़े नंबर 1 भगोड़ा हो तुम. भगोड़ा लंदन में बैठे हुए भगोड़े. लंदन में बैठे हुए भगोड़े हामिद खान. भगोड़े नंबर 1 भगोड़ा हामिद. पसीने आ रहे हैं भगोड़े. मेरी बात सुनो.
So what if we had done this? What if our media had done this? What Yalda is doing here, which is like ask very pointed, calm questions and let them use their propaganda techniques and then we expose them. Actually, we don't even need to expose them then because they are the ones who are tripping up on their own words, admitting to things they shouldn't at an international stage and then making us look good. So if you had to do a narrative war, BJP and Godi Media, learn from this. She's doing the narrative war for us. While our idiots are doing disinformation, fake news and gaslighting the public here only. That's a problem, friendos. That's a problem. Our media needs to really understand TV media that what the kind of damage they have caused and what they could have done instead. If they wanted to like do this mental war fighting that Sushant Blackboard Sinha was saying. At least do it properly. Here is another clip. No, this is the defense minister saying random shit again.
Let's start with this very specific allegation of 5 fighter jets shot down. Where's the evidence for that, sir?
It's all over the social media, on Indian social media, not on our social media.
It's all over the social media.
The debris of these jets fell into.
Now, this is, I mean, we can classify it as a propaganda technique also, yahan pe, which is intentional vagueness. But honestly speaking, that was just dumb. Intentional vagueness, of course, is that you make a claim, and then when you're asked, oh, prove your claim is right, so you be like intentionally vague about something that might or might not be true, which is like, arey, social media pe dekha na, Indian social media pe dekha na, right? So he's the defense minister saying, okay, that was just dumb. That was very, very badly implemented propaganda technique, intentional vagueness. If we had to do it, there was probably another way to do it. It shouldn't have said that. Well, OD Space is pointing out this was a big lie. Oh, of course it was a big lie. Yeah, there is a big lie element here as well. But the thing is, big lie, if you keep repeating it, it should get better. But from what I know, once he said that, nobody else repeated it. So the big lie didn't really work. So you need to make your propaganda a little more believable. If you were giving half-truths, thoda to believable rakho, but no. There is an element of operant conditioning also, by the way. This is a very fascinating one. Listen to Val. Hey, YouTube viewer, join us. Membership is fun. Exactly. People listen to chat, and now we are going to go to the last bit, which is a bonus clip that we have coming in. So, as you know, there is a lot of Trump-related things happening with the conflict also. First, he says that he was instrumental in the ceasefire. First, he says that, oh, maine kiya hai sab kuch, etc. We say that it was bilateral. He says that it wasn't. You can look at the update I put out 2 days ago to know the details of how the ceasefire happened. Now, I think he's just being a little vindictive against us. Just this.
Apple, as you know, is coming in. And I had a little problem with Tim Cook yesterday. I said to him, Tim, you're my friend. I treated you very good. You're coming in with $500 billion, but now I hear you're building all over India. I don't want you building in India. You can build in India if you want to take care of India, because India is one of the highest tariff nations in the world. It's very hard to sell into India.
Our friend, our prime influencer's best friend, Doland, wants to take Apple away from India. He told Tim Cook ki tu India mein kyun banata hai be?
And they've offered us a deal where basically they're willing to literally charge us no tariff. So we go from the highest tariff, you couldn't do business in India. We're not even a top 30 in India because the tariff is so high, to a point where they have actually told us, I assume you too, Scott, you were working on that also, that there will be no tariff, right? Would you say that's a difference?
That's a lie, by the way. We have reduced the tariff to 10% from the news. It's not like almost nothing. So he was charging us 32% and now it's been brought down to 10%.
They're the highest and now they're saying no tariff. But I said to Tim, look, we've treated you really good. We put up with all the plants that you built in China for years. Now you got to build us. We're not interested in you building in India. India can take care of themselves.
Yeah, so our prime influencer's best friend Doland has kind of backstabbed us now. He's also trying to take business away from us. Guys, I have to say this. This has been a bad time for diplomacy in India. It is not looking good. Our S. Jaishankar laser eyes is clearly not working anymore. Like left, right, center, everybody's sort of backstabbing us and also saying that Arey, India mein kyun bana tha? Idhar bana na? So yeah, US is leading the bunch. It's making us look bad. Also, they were doing false equivalence constantly between India and Pakistan as if we are on the same level. Their commentary has been that way, which is not great for us. It is not, because these are not two comparable nations except for nuclear capacity. But yeah, we have not won this war, and our Godi Media, to make it worse, has been setting a very, very terrible narrative, or making a very pathetic attempt at setting a narrative which has completely failed. Yes, that was the video. Please do consider liking. Please do consider subscribing to this channel. That was the video. If you had fun. Also, if you are wondering what is happening here, these are all members. They have seen this whole recording live because they are supporters. So please support this channel. Please do become a member, because next time I do a recording like this, you will be able to see it. And also we can do some chill time after that. Before that, थोड़ा सा बात करेंगे, थोड़ा सा analysis करेंगे. A lot of things happen. Yes, on the members only live stream. So join, support. Bye. See you. Guys, sorry, just wanted to give you one more update because it was related to the last news. Kangana Ranaut has tweeted this. Respected National President Shri JP Nadda ji called and asked me to delete the tweet I had posted regarding Trump asking Apple CEO Tim Cook not to manufacture in India. I regret posting that very personal opinion of mine. As per instructions, I immediately deleted it from my Instagram as well. So clearly Kangana was very upset with Trump and said something. Yeah, and now she's an MP, she can't just say anything, no? So JP Nadda ji called her and said ki, "Arey, best friend Doland ko aise gali nahi marte. Let it be, let it go, Kangana. What is this, yeah? Why you overreact?" And of course, the first tweet under it is this: expectation, reality. Oh God. Anyway, bye.